Okay, folks, welcome to week 4 of the Sampler Spree Slow Along, where we are following Susan Aki's amazing book, Sampler Spree. So, in this block, this is block 9. It's called Tussy Mussy, and you can find it on page 20 of the Sampler Spree book. And this block utilizes both templates for piece A and pieces B, as well as half square triangles. Now, we've done templates and we've done half square triangles already in this slow along. If you're interested in all of my tips, tricks, and materials used for templates, go ahead and watch the kites video, which will be linked in the description. And for half square triangles, let's go ahead and watch the friendship star video, because I really go into depth in those 2 videos for these 2 techniques. So what we're doing at this point is I'm assuming that you've already cut your templates and that you've already made your half square triangles. And what I always do is and I'm just going to turn the camera just a bit for you. I always lay out my pieces in the block, especially in these kinds where it's like, you're chain piecing within the block, but you're not making 100 of these blocks. You're making 1 block at a time. And so there's a lot of pieces that you want to keep organized. And for me, visual organization is the name of the game. And so I choose to do this way. So what I like to do is I'm going to break down this block into smaller components. So there's 3 of these sections, which is your piece E, your piece D, and your piece C. So we have D, E, and C are these 3 pieces here, and they're repeated up here in this corner and over here in this corner. So that's one set of patchwork that will get addressed. Then we have these pieces here, which are 3 triangles that will get sewn together to kind of look like, almost like quarter square triangles, but obviously you have this full piece instead of a half. I will say, personally speaking, the method that she uses for construction in the book is not how I would do it. So if you haven't cut anything yet, listen to what I'm saying. I'm doing it by the book because I know most of you are going to follow the book. But what I would do is I would make half square triangles of these 2 colors. And then once they're split, I would use them to make another half square triangle using this color. So we would use all squares instead of using triangles. There would be... there's a little bit of waste in that, but I find that it's an easier construction than using triangles. But that being said, we're going to go ahead and use the triangles. So if you don't want to do that, you can do that other method of construction. But what we're going to do here is use the triangles, and we have 4 of these basic sets. We have 2 in the medium 2 color and 2 in the medium 3 color. Okay? And then we also have our template construction, where we're going to sew together template B pieces to the template A piece. And then after that, it's just basic patchwork construction. So I'm going to walk you through those stages just to kind of get into the groove of things. We want to have our 1/4 inch patchwork foot on if you have one. If you have the ability, like my Chorus does, to put on a laser, you can do that. If you don't, you can use diagonal seam tape. The lighting is going to kind of switch because I have auto lighting on, which is really nice. So make sure that you guys can always see, but it will kind of switch. Like right now you have this lighting, but once my machine wakes up, it'll change a little. So if you see any of those changes, There's nothing going on with your computer. It's the auto lighting in my studio to make sure that you guys can see well. You can also use diagonal seam tape, or you can use like washi tape or something. So I'm using diagonal seam tape myself. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn this just a smidge. There you go. So you can see a little bit better. All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna chain piece as much as I possibly can, but I'm going to do it in types of fat patchwork first. So I'm going to do these two little guys together as well as these triangles together. Okay? So let's get started. Okay, so we are back from the pressing station and we have started to lay our blocks back into our pieces, our pieces back into our block, tongue-tied. And one thing I want to note is that I'm pressing all of my seams open, and I'm doing that throughout this quilt top. There's a lot of seams that come together in a lot of different ways, and they don't necessarily nest. I mean, yes, there's going to be sashing in there that will help with that around the edges, but there's a lot of seams, and so to reduce bulk, I'm using pressed open seams. Now, on these portions where we're making this cute little block here, having pressed open seams is actually a really big help in alignment of your block, because you can, I don't know if you can see that there, you can line up the point of your triangle with that seam, and then you can line up your straight edge. And that will make it a lot easier to get this really bang on and nice and straight. So let's go ahead and sew all of those pieces together. Okay, so we're back from the pressing table and we've created all of our kind of component pieces for the block. And now we're really close to just patchworking. Next, we're going to create this, we're going to sew together the template portion. And when we're sewing together the template portion, what we want to do is we want to align those straight long edges. And so we're going to sew up this edge and sew up this.
and sew the other side on.
Okay. Now, what's interesting about the construction of this block is that it can kind of be broken down in different ways to get it to all come together. The way that she does it in the book, which I like, is that she makes it into quadrants. So this big piece, this is one quadrant. Then these four, and these four, they basically get sewn together 4-patch style, and then the quadrants get sewn together. So that's one way to do it. You could also sew this row together, this 4-patch together, and then sew this to this, and then all 3 rows together. There's different ways to go about it. They all come out with the same way, but I like the quadrant way myself, which is what she describes in the book, which is what we're going to do here. So we will sew the half square triangles together in pairs. So we'll go ahead and do that now. And so I'm going to go ahead and press. And if you aren't using water or starch or best press, I suggest starting to. There's a lot of seams in here. There's a lot of small piecing in here. And it is just going to do your finished product a world of good if you are using those materials. Okay, so we are back from the pressing table and things are really starting to look like it's supposed to, which is exciting. So let's go ahead and finish sewing together our quadrants, which means this section to this to this, and this to this. And then it'll be time to sew the whole shebang together. All right, our quadrants are complete. And so now it is time to sew together the top 2 quadrants and the bottom 2 quadrants. And I'm just going to kind of keep on going and then sew the top to the bottom. So you'll kind of see a little fast forward here and we will be looking at our finished Tussy Mussy block. Okay, folks, there you have it. Here is our completed Tussy Mussy block. And I have to admit, it is a mussy amount of seams on the back of this thing, but man, is it beautiful when you flip it over. I cannot wait to see what yours turn out like. Go ahead and post it in the Facebook group or anywhere on social media using the hashtag Sampler Spree Slow Along. I can't wait to see what you're making. Bye for now.